In addition to being one of the country's top universities, Northwestern has faced some recent controversy, mostly a sexual harassment case that has embroiled the school and led its recently hired athletics director Mike Polisky to step down. All of this as its president of 12 years, Morton Schapiro, has announced his planned exit for next year. Just a few minutes ago, we discussed his new book on fundamentalism, and President Schapiro joins us again with more. President Schapiro, thank you for sticking around. Now, many students and faculty are criticizing the university and you personally for what they call a lack of transparency over a sexual harassment lawsuit and the recent hiring of Mike Polisky to be the athletics director. He has since resigned, but we spoke to Professor Elizabeth Hurd earlier today. She's part of a group of women faculty who opposed Polisky's hiring. Here's a bit of what she had to say.
I would really like to know how it's possible for the environment that to exist at Northwestern in 2017, 18, 19 into the present day, where these kinds of horrible acts of sexualization and discrimination and harassment against young women, Northwestern students and student athletes could happen.
President Schapiro, how do you respond to all of this?
Well, certainly terrible things happen, and we have noted that. We've also had a number of people named in a lawsuit, including Mike Polisky personally, which we investigated, and we had independent counsel, very well qualified, and they did a study. Mike was a finalist with very strong support from the search committee. And I, of course, waited to see the results of that independent investigation during which he was cleared. We also filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. And there was no, at the time, and still pending investigation about Mike. So with the strong support, again, of the search committee and many other members of the community, I realized that the optics were going to be really tough. But to accuse somebody of something doesn't mean they actually did it, which I think is an important thing to remember for everyone.
Is there anything more that the university could or should do to address the claims that the university hasn't appropriately handled the allegations of harassment?
Well, we made a lot of changes. I mean, the things that people were raised to be, and particularly in this lawsuit, in terms of allegations, were horrific. I mean, I learned about it, and there's a difference, of course, between a president's office and an office of equity. I learned about it reading the Chicago Tribune one horrible Friday afternoon. And, when I looked into it, we had already made a lot of changes. The coach was gone. The way the cheer squad interacted with fans and others completely changed. It had been changed for years. So, I mean, the real point is, do you go and name somebody athletic director who himself had been named in this lawsuit? But again, we investigated, independent counsel investigated. There was no pending lawsuit. And I thought, even though the optics were tough, that I named him. And I did name him. And it turned out the optics weren't just the optics. There were many people who very strongly resisted that. And as you saw from Mike Polisky, he said, after 10 days, it's dividing the community so much that he stepped down. So now we have a faculty member who's stepping in, and just as this faculty member did way back in 2008 when we were between athletic directors, and he's calming things down. And we're continuing to investigate and try to make everything the best way we possibly can. The faculty deserve it, the students deserve it, and our entire community deserves it. But Mike Polisky isn't being investigated, and he was cleared.
So I want to shift over a little bit. In this last year, of course, there's been a racial reckoning. And over that last year, there were calls to disband the university police force, which you declined to do. But how should a university be responding to this modern day racial reckoning that we're experiencing?
Well, it's important that they do respond in as transparent a manner as possible. And we have this advisory committee chaired by some very distinguished people. And we're completely rethinking community safety. And it's not just rethinking, we've already done it. So it used to be until fairly recently, if somebody had some problem in a dorm, we would send the police force in and a policeman in or woman And if you needed a transport to the hospital, it was done in a police car. That isn't done anymore. So, people deserve to feel safe on our community, and completely rethinking community and campus safety is what we've been doing, and we have the actions to show for it.
You announced in March that you'd be stepping down next year, so you've got some time. That's not happening until August of 2022. But what's brought you to this decision?
Well, I came here, Prentice, back in 2009 on a 5-year contract, and very quickly they offered me another 5-year contract, which I gladly accepted. I love teaching at Northwestern. I love the honor of being the 16th president. And then shortly into that term, back in 2015, they said, "You want another 5-year contract?" And I said, I had already been a president for 9 years before at Williams College in Massachusetts. And I said, no, the third term, let's just make it 3. And I reconfirmed that back in July of 2019. I know some people think that, I'm stepping down because of this controversy or not, but as you remember, correlation is not causation. So this was long planned. If you had asked me in 2015 how long I'm going to serve, I would have said then that I was going to step down in end of August of 2022. That'll be the end, God willing, of 22 years of being a president with 13 at Northwestern. And I'm happy to give somebody else the great opportunity as president in 17.
And since your arrival to Northwestern in 2009, undergraduate applications have soared, as has funding for research. You've doubled the endowment, excuse me. What's next? What's your next step after next year?
Well, for me, I don't know. It's a full-time job, and I love that job, even though sometimes I have to remind myself of how fortunate I am to have it. But I'm not thinking ahead. It's hard to believe, but I'm not. And you were kind, Brandis, to mention some of the things. I hope I played some positive role, but it's really the faculty and the staff and the students and the alumni who love this place. They're proud to wear the purple. And, I certainly would never say I've been perfect, but I've always tried to admit when I was wrong. I always tried to learn from the mistakes so I didn't make it again. And, I'm proud that I contributed something to Northwestern. It's been very difficult with COVID, but I'm looking forward. We have a makeup graduation for the graduating class of 2020 in a couple of weeks, and then several days of graduation for 2021. And I'm just looking forward to welcoming the new students fully into the dorms in the fall. And
lots to manage, I'm
so
sure.
Excited about the future.
You've got some time between now and 2022, or August 2022. So hopefully we'll talk to you again before then. We'll have to leave it there for now. President Morton Schapiro, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.